Welcome back. Today we're making a little subway station scene with a train. This is what it's going to look like in the end. It's the last island in the New York Diorama scene that I've been working on in these videos. I'm using Boolean here to cut out a part of the island. This way it's going to look like we're seeing the inside of a subway station that is located underground. As you can see, I already have the composition decided on. That's because I made the composition for all 4 islands simultaneously in the first video of the series. You can find the link to that video in the description. As you can see, I'm beveling top edges of the objects that I use in the Boolean modifier to cut out this arch tunnel. I know it's not common to have wooden staircase in public places like subway, but I decided to add those details anyway because the staircase occupied a lot of the screen space in the final image, so I wanted to add as many details as I can. I'm adding rivets to the pillars because those make a distinctly New York subway station. As you can see, I'm making them pretty chunky here, but later on I will end up changing my mind and making them smaller. That's because I don't treat any design decisions I make at this stage as final. I'm still experimenting and trying things. After I work at the scene some more, finishing more objects, I can come back to this one and decide that something is not working and just change it. The yellow thing I'm working on right now is there to help people better see where the end of the platform is. Here it provides a nice pop of color, being bright yellow on the background of the gray tiles. If you've ever been to New York subway, you're probably thinking, Julie, where is the typical wooden bench? I decided not to add it. I opted for these plastic seats because they were colorful, and I felt like they were fitting the mood a little bit better. As you can see, I changed the color from yellow to green because I thought it would complement our color scheme better. And I added tiles on the wall using array modifier. I think tiles on the walls are an important part of making this look like New York subway and not just a subway anywhere in the world. I made those rivets on the pillars smaller, as I said I would. I decided that those pillars could use a little more details. I decided to add the beams on top of the pillars to better frame the station, as I felt like that top part needed a little extra definition. I wanted to create an illusion of stairs leading outside, so I needed to move them a little bit deeper in. This is what I was doing there. Here I'm just tweaking the stairs a little bit, making sure they fit. I also decided to add a light going from outside. I think the light really helped here. It worked sort of like a rim light, helping to define the shape of all the objects. It also provided a nice moody atmosphere. I couldn't resist not to add the tiles behind the stairs now. It provided so much more details in that corner, with the light reflecting off the tile edges. I also added a text object for the name of the station, and I was ready to move on to the rails. The rail tracks proved to be more difficult than I thought they would be. I definitely had to look up some references of the rail tracks because I couldn't imagine what they looked like, even though I saw them hundreds of times in my life. The goal was not to make them too shiny and too noticeable, because they're just a part of a background. The focus of the scene is supposed to be the train. And it was a challenging task to simplify the rails, because in real life they consist of so many little details. Especially since I don't know what those details are for, so it's very easy to mess it up. And that's another important part of being a 3D modeler. You're probably gonna need to model things that you don't fully understand the construction of. And your job is to still make them look believable. Now it is time to add the train. Here I used the same method as for the car a couple of videos before. I applied subdivision surface modifier early and started working on a shape by adding edge loops and moving vertices around. I'm looking at multiple references of the trains, yet I'm not making any particular one, because this way I can combine best parts of different trains into one unique design. This way I can control which parts I want to recreate and which ones I don't, to make sure that the train fits the overall style of the image, and the design looks consistent throughout the scene. As you can see, I'm going for a very simplistic looking train. I'm mostly basing off this design of the retro model of the train. That's why I'm taking more inspiration from the retro version of the train and not the modern one. Because with modern technology, we can create more intricate designs, while older things usually tend to be more simple. Retro things also look a little bit more cheerful, and that's the style I'm going for. Here I copied the side panels of the window to make the window frame. After separating them, I just extruded faces along normals. Since I'm using mirror modifier, I needed to make only one window and it would be automatically copied to the other side. Here you can see me deleting the back-facing geometry that wouldn't be visible because it would be hidden inside the model. Since here I'm just working on a portfolio piece, deleting that geometry is not that crucial. But if this object would be for a video game, deleting the geometry there would save some space in the UV map. And since I'm learning this to make games, I'm trying to get into the habit of following the good practices. By now you've probably realized that I like to keep a consistent level of details throughout the image. That's why after adding a couple of details to the front of the train, now I move to the main section and I'm adding passenger windows. I'm making a window with part of the wall and a roof connected to it, and then copying the entire loop, let's call it loop, multiple times to have multiple windows. To bridge the gaps between those loops, I'm using bridge edge loops operator. It's really useful, I use it all the time, it can do so many different things. Now it's just a matter of looking at those train references and deciding which details I want to recreate and which ones I don't. Here I decided to add this top part that is supposed to tell you the name of the train. I don't know what it's called. Do you think it even has a name? Anyway, I did that because the top of the train was looking kinda empty. I don't think those details actually have headlights on top, but I tried to add them there and decided that it looked believable enough. And you know me, I like adding lights everywhere, and if the light source is coming from an actual light in the world, then it's even better. And the same idea applies here. I saw that the bottom part was looking a little bit too bare, so I added those metal loops going around the bottom part. This red shader is a matte cap. You can find it in viewport shading amongst other matte caps. I used it to check if the surfaces were looking smooth enough. Because it's so reflective, you could see all the imperfections really easily. You can see me constantly switching to rendered mode and checking if what I'm adding is working. I'm tweaking the proportions and adjusting everything as I go. Here I'm working on the roof detail. Obviously, roof being such a big part of the final image, I couldn't leave it without any details. I just extruded the faces a couple of times, added some extra crevices. By the way, if you want the inside of the crevices to look sharp, use Shift-E to mark it sharp. I'm a big proponent of using references, as you've probably noticed. But for this detail on the roof, I didn't use any. Especially because people don't really see that part in real life, so not many people know what actually is going on there. And this looks believable enough, in my opinion. So it doesn't always have to be 100% true to life. You can choose where your time is best spent. And usually these are the parts where making a mistake would be more forgivable. Now I'm adding this bottom part just by repeating what I saw in the references. For more complex technical parts of the vehicles, references are definitely a lifesaver for me. So yeah, at this stage, it's just a matter of designing, tweaking the proportions, making sure that it fits the style I'm going for. At this stage, where most of the objects are there, I'm trying to take a step back and look at the work as a whole. I'm looking for what works and what doesn't, checking if there is anything obvious that I'm missing. In this case, there actually was something. The tunnel wasn't deep enough, so there was a hole that you can see the next island through. So I fixed that. Here I'm experimenting with lights, trying to add the headlights. At the end, I actually decided I didn't like it that much and opted for just a super emissive material on the headlights. Here is something the train was missing. I guess trains need wheels. It's a very simple wheel, made the same way we've made everything so far. Just some scaling, extruding, scaling again. Honestly, pressing G to move, E to extrude, S to scale, I to insert is literally 90% of what I'm doing while modeling. Okay, maybe figuratively 90%. Here I added a letter on the train. That's when I came up with the reference for the new cycles that's coming out soon, and I was very proud of my joke. I realized that The station was looking a little bit too clean for New York subway, a little bit too perfect. So now I'm adding imperfections. Those really help to sell the liveliness of the world. This way, you can imagine people living in this world, using the subway station. And these are the last details that pretty much conclude my work on this island. Now we're done with the final island. That's what it ended up looking like. And here's the final composition together. I'm looking at all the islands next to each other and seeing if there is anything that needs fixing. For example, I saw that the streetlight in the park was too close to the street cafe. Both emit warm light, so I decided to move the street lamp to the other side. In the subway island, I changed the color of the lights. I made one of them warm and the other cold to provide some contrast. And of course, I added rim lights everywhere. Behind the building, behind the trees, behind the traffic light, everywhere. My motto is, the more rim lights, the better the result. As you can see, I rendered the image with a transparent background and then added the background color in Affinity Designer. I rendered the image as 2000 by 2000 pixel PNG. Most often I actually use JPEG, but obviously JPEG doesn't support transparent backgrounds. Something else I wanted to mention is that I always color correct my images after the fact. And that's it for the tutorials, I guess. That's all I wanted to show you this time. Subscribe to this channel and keep an eye for more tutorials from me in the future. Thank you for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed the videos. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments or DM me at Julistrator on any social media. I'll see you around.